Bloggo's POW.
Uncle Bloggo, can we have a Top Gun please? Why do you want that? We've got a Top Gun at home. But was the Top Gunning we had at home worth playing? Cast your interdimensional portal back to 1987. Tom was still playing with the boys rather than the space lizards. And the official Top Gun game came from the company who licensed practically anything, Ocean. Predictably, it's a flight combat game, where you face off against an opponent in a split-screen coat hangers as planes thing. It wasn't very good, and while it's on brand with the one-on-one gameplay, there's not a lot of Top Gunning to be had, to be honest.
You'll be flying a cargo plane full of rubber dog shit out of Hong Kong.
1987 also gave Konami the keys to the Danger Zone, and they presented us with another official game. NES Top Gun was as good as you could probably get on the system for the time. The game is mission based and follows the events of the movie. No, that's a lie, it doesn't. It's fun enough and plays well, but you're not really near to having those mighty wings at home.
What you should have done was land your plane.
But what was happening on home computers? EA published FA-18 Interceptor on the Amiga in 1988, and this took our collective breaths away. Seriously, this looked amazing at the time, with cinematic camera angles and a pretty good feeling of being a pilot. But this is where things started going one of two ways, computers heading down the simulation route, and consoles heading straight for the arcade thrills.
Son, your ego is writing checks your body can't cash.
Talking of arcades, Sega threw their volleyball into the ring with two notable Top Gun style thrill rides. 1987's Afterburner really thought it was Top Gun. Had more bogeys on the screen than the serial sneezer with his nose pressed against the monitor, possibly the most exciting jet combat game yet, with a hydraulic cabinet that really added to the experience. And an experience it was, it just wasn't much of a game. It's regarded as an all-time classic these days, but in all seriousness it's a bit thin.
I feel the need for speed.
Sega followed this up 3 years later with G-Lock, another go at being a Top Gun. It had a strict time limit to shoot down a set amount of targets, and despite being a more technically advanced game with a cabinet, if you could find it, or you live in a muddy field in Ireland, could literally turn your world upside down. It was less of a game than Afterburner.
No points for second place.
So the arcade versus simulations battle still raged. The PC had US Navy fighters, which upped the graphical ante with extra crispy Super VGA graphics and an authentic Top Gun feel. A variety of missions and US Navy aircraft made it a strong contender, but still very much a very serious simulation.
They are not flexible, nor am I.
On the flip side, Namco released Air Combat, firstly in the arcades and then on the PlayStation. This gave players the opportunity to play a very watered down arcade flight sim, and again looked the part at the time. It was received with lukewarm reviews, but in terms of accessibility, it was maybe the most top of the guns yet. The sequel, Ace Combat 2, was released later, maintained the same formula, but improved it greatly.
But it's time to buzz the tower.
Another official Top Gun came from Microprose in 1996 and lent more on the simulation side, but the paltry 10 buttons of the PS1 pad couldn't compare with a full PC keyboard. Ironically, it was already stripped back from the PC version, and yet the game still fell short.
God help us.
Yet another official Top Gun game was released on the PlayStation 2 and GameCube in 2001. Another mission-based game that tried Top Gunning from historical context with missions set in the past, present and near future. From what I can see, it was probably best avoided, being released by Titus, and had very little to do with the movie.
You guys really are cowboys.
Sega came back with Afterburner Climax in the early 2000s, an update of the original with fantastic graphics, and again a really great Top Gun feel. The gameplay was largely unchanged from the first game, but damn it was fun to play. A really hot looking game that sadly isn't easy to play these days.
To a civilian contractor, so you do not salute her.
Bringing ourselves kicking and screaming into the present, with our tails on fire, what do you play nowadays? The choice is still with sim versus not quite sim. Super Serious Flight Sim DCS World is a free-to-play sim that has many add-ons and an amazing online community which will bend and shape the programme to do whatever they want. There's an excellent shot-for-shot recreation of Top Gun's opening sequence that has been made just using the game engine. It's well worth a watch. The game, however, was best left for those who have joysticks with more buttons than Tom Cruise has flight hours.
Still got him, he's still back there. Come on, Mav, do some of that pilot shit.
Conversely, my pick for home bandit chasing is Ace Combat 7. Throughout the PS2 years, Namco refined the formula to this point. Fantastic aircraft and speedy action and a variety of missions that, true to Ace Combat history, do verge on science fiction in places. If you have a PSVR headset, there are VR specific missions to add to the immersion. In fact, Namco knows this should be a Top Gun game. They've literally just released Top Gun Maverick DLC for Ace Combat 7, which includes the odd Dark Star experimental plane and liveries for the F-14 Tomcat and the F-18 Hornet. It was good to see they're on the ball. Almost like somebody put out content to coincide with the current trend.
So you're the one.
But is this all Top Gun enough? Games rarely capture what you feel from watching a movie. Tight editing, exhilarating shots are poured into your face by directors who know their craft. Games being interactive, the experience from the seat of a fighter jet can give you camera angles to play with at the risk of losing control or focus on the gameplay to make it look cool. This leads to a disconnect from what you experience after seeing a movie to what you actually get when you're playing a game. So while you can fly high-powered jet fighters at home, I don't think you can do a Top Gun.
Subscribe or naff off!